Welcome to the Conservative Viewpoint, where the truth always matters. I'm your host Charlie, the country conservative, and co-host Brendan, from the Brendan Statler Show. We are your source for conservative news. Now on with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Conservative Viewpoint. Whoops. Getting feedback. I'm Charlie. We're diving headfirst into the heart of the matter. So stay tuned, because we're about to dissect the state of the economy like a political surgeon with a scalpel and a mission. The Grand Chamber, the hollowed halls of power, where the echoes of history reverberate. The president strides in, hanging on by the weight of the nation's expectations. The room holds its breath, waiting for the words that will shape our nation. But instead, we get a bunch of lies, mumbling, and false promises that he can't live up to. Tonight, we stand at a crossroads. The winds of change blow fierce, and the compass of our convictions wavers. But fear not, for we are the torchbearers of tradition, the guardians of liberty, and the stewards of prosperity. We've weathered storms, faced foes, and danced with destiny. But let me tell you this. The American dream isn't a relic. It's a blueprint. It's etched in the Constitution, woven into our flag, and whispered in the winds that sweep across this great land. But no, we're not here to rest on laurels or bask in nostalgia. No, my friends, we're here to forge a future worthy of our forebears. A future where hard work pays dividends, where freedom isn't a buzzword, but a bright birthright, and where unity isn't a platitude, but a pact. Let us rise above the din of division that is the bridge gaps that threaten to swallow us whole. Let us remember that we're not a red state or a blue state, whether the United States, and together we will write the next chapter of our American saga, one that echoes through time, inspiring generations yet unborn. And with that, my friends, the state of the economy ignites a sympathy or a symphony of ideals, a class of vision, and a call to action. So grab your popcorn, adjust your ideological compass, and join us on this wild ride. Because here at the Conservative Viewpoint, we don't just talk politics, we ignite the flames of discourse. And remember, folks, the mic is hot, the stakes are higher than a Wall Street skyscraper. And for the truth, well, that's our currency. Welcome to the arena. Let's battle of ideas commence. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone.
Yes. This is where I usually start off by asking you guys to check out our Rumble pages. But today, I'm not going to do that, because it seems like the show, every time I ask you guys to go to my Rumble page, the Country Conservative, and the Brendan Show, the Brendan Statler Show, to check out our page, to share them with your friends and family, the liberal friends that you might talk to. But today, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to ask you guys to give us a thumbs up or follow us. So we'll save that for another day. So since I'm not going to talk to you guys and tell you guys that, we're just going to get the show on the road. So today's show, it's all about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, the good is Trump has received a lot of endorsements and raised a considerable amount of money since this bogus verdict, was handed down. And the bad is Biden's economy not getting any better. And the ugly is Biden's lies never stop. Things that we take care of, and we will take care of come November 5th. Now, I want to show you a short video of Biden's remarks, and should I say facial expressions. And this just pissed me off. So when he was asked about the Trump verdict in the New York trial, just look at his facial remarks, which you guys probably already saw it, but it just pissed me off whenever I saw this. So let me Make sure I get the right one here. I'm just throwing these in here today, and this one right here. All right. Take a look at this real quick.
Mr. President, can you tell us, sir, Donald Trump refers to himself as a political prisoner and blames you directly. What's your response to that, sir? Do you think the conviction will have an impact on the campaign? We'd love to hear your thoughts, sir.
Should he be on the ballot, sir?
Now, does that piss you off or what?
Yeah, I mean, that facial expression, that little
smirk.
Oh. I mean, that if that doesn't say that he wasn't involved in this whole political persecution, I don't know what does. But I mean, you know, like I said before, and we're already starting to see evidence of it. I said this was going to backfire on them. It's already starting, and it's going to backfire even more. It's going to continue to get worse and worse for the deep state because of this political persecution against President Trump.
Ain't no doubt. Now we got American Rebellion in the house. How you doing, Gary?
What's up, Gary?
Just got done with his show. He's got a great show. Don't forget to guys check it out, the American Rebellion. He does an awesome 2-hour show.
Absolutely.
All right, Brendan, what we got going on today?
Well, big news today. I'm sure many people watching have already seen a lot of this, but Dr. Fauci was on Capitol Hill today to testify on the origins of COVID. Well, Fauci denied seeking to suppress the COVID-19 lab leak theory. This is from Fox News. Dr. Anthony Fauci, former director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, delivered and prepared opening statements before the House Select Subcommittee hearing on June 3rd, 2024. That is today, of course, denying he attempted to cover up the possibility of the COVID-19 lab leak. Dr. Anthony Fauci, former director of, I don't need to read his whole title again, on Monday denied attempting to suppress the theory that the COVID-19 pandemic began as a result of a lab leak in Wuhan, China. During his opening statement before the House Oversight Select Subcommittee on the coronavirus pandemic, lawmakers proceeded to grill Fauci throughout the hearing on the U.S. Centers of Disease Control and Prevention's 6 feet distancing rule, the masking of school children, and other pandemic area restrictions. The most notable member of Congress that grilled Fauci today was Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia. I have 2 videos here for you guys. We had to break it up a little bit because the one video was so long, but we're going to try to include all of this because it's too good to really cut out. So let's play the first video we have of MTG.
Mr. Fauci, you were quoted on CBS Face the Nation saying it's easy to criticize, but they're really criticizing science because I represent science. Do you represent science, Mr. Fauci?
I am a scientist who uses the scientific method to gain information.
Yes, you said you represent science. Do you represent science, Mr. Fauci? Yes
Again,
or no? Yes or no?
No, that's not a yes or no answer.
Yes, it's a yes or no.
I don't think it is.
But this, as director of the NIH, you did sign off on these so-called scientific experiments. And as a dog lover, I want to tell you this is disgusting. Mr. Fauci, you also represent the type of science where you confess that you made up the COVID rules, including
I didn't hear what you
6
said.
feet social distancing and masking of children.
I never said I made anything up.
You admitted that you made it up. You
I
made it
didn't
up
say
as you went.
I made it up.
So are you saying this is fake news, Mr. Fauci?
I didn't say I made anything up.
What did you say?
I said that it is not based in science and it just appeared.
But this is science. NIH scientists made $710 million in royalties from drug makers, a fact that's been hidden. Let's talk about the fact about...
Now, you see this. The man's a liar. And I watched the first set of hearings after all this shit was said and done. And he did say that.
Yeah,
and
he absolutely did.
So that's what pisses me off. This man sits there and lies on every damn hearing that he was ever in.
Yeah, and another thing that people tend to forget because this video, Fauci, that I'm going to mention, a lot of people don't know about. It's very hard to find, but I remember seeing it. This was actually in the one YouTube video. I forget the doctor's name. It was a female doctor. She was the one that really started asking the real questions about Fauci and exposing his corruption. This is the same YouTube video that kept getting banned and then reposted getting banned. This is like patient zero for social media censorship. At the end of this video, she plays a video from Dr. Fauci, or let's just call him Tony Fauci. I'm gonna agree with MTG from earlier. He's not a doctor, but she played this video of Tony Fauci saying this. Now, this is just a few days before Trump gets sworn into office. He said there is no doubt that President-elect Trump is going to be faced with a global pandemic within the next few years. Then just a little over 3 years later, 3 years and a couple months, we're hit with COVID. This guy knew something. And MTG was 100% right to go after him. How long is that second video we have of her?
2 minutes.
2 minutes? You want to play that now? Let's get that out of the way. Here's the rest of what we were saying.
This was a time in history where you got to throw out the first pitch at the Washington Nationals baseball game while Americans were forced to stay home and watch such events that they love from at home alone on their televisions. And what a hypocrisy this picture shows. Here you are without your mask, with empty seats everywhere. Remember the cardboard cutout fans? That was one of the most insulting things to Americans, having to watch the games from home where you got to go and enjoy the game and sit right next to people not following the 6 feet of distancing, not wearing your mask, and everyone else was forced to stay home and stop enjoying life. And your science here, your science is displayed perfectly in this picture where children in school were put in plastic bubbles because of your science, your repulsive, evil science. And let's go back to your very own email. You said earlier you don't use email. Oh, you do. Right here. This is your own email where you said the typical mask you buy in the drugstore is not really effective in keeping out virus. I do not recommend that you wear a mask. This is your email. This is your own words. But yet children all over America were forced to wear masks. Healthy children forced to wear masks, muzzled in their schools. And then they were forced to learn from home because of your so-called science and your medical suggestions while you and all your cronies get paid from Big Pharma. You know that what this committee should be doing? We should be recommending you to be prosecuted. We should be writing a criminal referral because you should be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. You belong in prison, Dr. Fauci.
She's exactly right. And I got to tell you guys in Wimpkin real quick, I don't know what's going on, but I can't comment on anything in there for right now. For some reason, it's just spinning and won't let me comment. So if I don't get back to you, it's because I'm still waiting on it to fix itself.
I'll see if I can comment on it, see if I'm receiving the same issue.
Yeah, but I can't.
Okay, so that was Marjorie Taylor Greene and her explosive, I don't know what you want to call it, let's just call it grilling of Tony Fauci today. And the fireworks didn't stop when the hearing did. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene. This video is probably a minute and a half, I believe. Marjorie Taylor Greene being interviewed after the hearing was done. She uses some colorful language in this, just to give you guys a warning, but this interview was awesome. So let's go ahead and play that.
No, absolutely not. I mean, everything I said is correct. It's how the American people feel. It's what we know to be a fact. It's all the evidence has been proven true. We have Jamie Raskin in there accusing us of worshiping Trump. Worshiping as a convicted felon. He is a convicted felon. Well, yeah, so is George Floyd. and everybody, and you all too, the media worship George Floyd. Democrats worship George Floyd. There were riots burning down the fucking country over George Floyd, and Raskin is in there saying we worship him. Excuse me, let me correct you, and this is really important. I don't worship, I worship God. God. And Jesus is my savior. I don't worship President Trump. And I'm really sick and tired of the bullshit annex I have to deal with constantly from the Democrats. So that's what we just went through in there. And then they're sitting there, they can attack my character all day long. What's his face in there, whoever was talking last was calling me insane. But yet we can't say, oh, they're attacking my character. Oh no, it's nonstop BS and annex. You want to know why? The Democrats don't have anything. They're responsible for the lockdowns, forced vaccinations, kids being forced to stay home, people committing suicide, and all the horrors that this country lived through during COVID. Fauci belongs in prison. He should be tried for mass murder, and he should be tried for crimes against humanity.
She's exactly right. That's for sure.
And MTG was not the only one that is currently trending on social media for her grilling of the tyrant Tony Fauci. Here's another short video for you guys to wrap this up. This is of Rich McCormick, a Republican from Georgia, grilling the tyrant Tony Fauci. Let's go ahead and play that real quick.
To live their lives so they'd feel pressured to get vaccinated. Could we run the audio clip on that, please?
You think can be done about it? I have to say that I don't see a big solution other than some sort of mandatory vaccination. I know federal officials don't like to use that term.
Once people feel empowered and protected legally, you are going to have schools, universities, and colleges are going to say, you want to come to this college, buddy? You're going to get vaccinated. Lady, you're going to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Big corporations like Amazon and Facebook and all of those others are going to say, you want to work for us, you get vaccinated. And it's been proven that when you make it difficult for people in their lives, they lose their ideological bullshit and they get vaccinated.
Thank you. Are all objections to COVID vaccinations ideological bullshit, Dr. Fauci?
No, they're not, and
Thank
that's
you.
not what I was referring to.
Well, in reference to making it hard for people to get educated.
Okay, that was pretty much the gist of that video anyway, but we all remember how many of us were pressured to get the poisonous COVID jab, and how many of us were fired from our jobs for refusing to take the poisonous China virus jab. How many of you in the chat were pressured to get the COVID jab, or how many of you lost your job because you refused to take the poisonous COVID jab? Because this has happened to a lot of people throughout the nation.
Even doctors.
Even our military. Remember,
right. All the firings.
This was the thing that was the most screwed up about COVID. Well, maybe not the most, because there was a lot of screwed up thing, but I would definitely put it up there in the top 3, I think. Remember at the beginning of the scamdemic, let's call it, because it all turned out to be a scam. It was the frontline workers, the nurses, the doctors, even the teachers, all these people, and the truck drivers. It was all these people that were hailed as heroes for working during the scamdemic. But as soon as they refused to take the experimental poisonous China virus jab, they were all vilified, they were fired, and they were completely demonized. And you could hear this through that recording that was played of Fauci telling people, if you tell people, look, you want to go to this school, you want to work for this business, you're going to get vaccinated. I mean, this should never happen in the United States of America. You should not be forced to do anything really that you don't want to do when it comes to your own medical care. I mean, isn't it the left that always says my body, my choice? Well, it's not when it comes to experimental poisonous jabs, apparently. That's only when they want to kill their unborn children because they were whores. But, you know, that's the hypocrisy of the left, I suppose.
But it seems like we're all having issues in Wimpkin tonight, so we'll bear with it here and try to get our comments through and see what you guys are having to say. But I
was able to upload a comment. I did try. I was able to get one.
Yeah, everybody's sitting there saying they're getting errors and everything like that. But I think we're all in agreement that Dr. Fauci is a little piece of shit and should be held accountable, just like MTG said. And there's some things, you know, I don't like about MTG because she was pushing to try to get rid of Johnson when right now we need him, unfortunately. And there's some things that she does that I don't like, but in this case, she fights. I mean, she does fight for the right things once in a while.
She's definitely a fire breather. She is one of the few good Republicans I think that we have. I mean, of course, you're not going to agree with somebody on everything. Right. Like, I mean, you and me disagree on the Johnson thing, Charlie, but that's a different topic. But overall, MTG's solid. You know, she's a fire breather. She's a fighter. She is all about action, I will say, and we need more like her. Honestly, we really do. If everybody in the GOP was like MTG or was like Matt Gaetz, or an Andy Biggs, any of these people, man, this party would be absolutely incredible if the rest of the GOP was like these people. These are the few Republicans that actually, you know, show any action, and we need more of that in the Republican Party.
Right. Well, we're going to move on to the next subject, and that is going to be Trump's money. So we're a little confused on this subject because there's so many things coming out.
There's conflicting reports, we will say.
Yes, exactly. Some was showing, and I had this when I set up the show this morning, at $53.4 million or something like that. Then was showing a $200 million, but then the RNC reports a combined total of $141 million. So we're confused of how much money that Trump has collected since this bogus verdict's come out. So we're going to go with all these at one time just to see, and maybe we'll get the right story here soon. But first off, we got that Miriam Edelson. She commits to more than $100 million to Trump's campaign. Miriam Edelson, if you don't know her, she is the wife of the late Sheldon Adelson, a casino magnate. And after Sheldon's death in 2021, she became the owner of the Las Vegas Sands. And you said the Dallas Mavericks, right?
Dallas Mavericks, yes.
Okay. And she's considered one of the richest women in America right now. And she is the latest of several billionaires who have pledged their support to Trump in recent weeks. Bill Ackman, the founder of Perishing Square Capital Management and a prominent critic of college handling of the campus anti-Semitism, will likely endorse Trump. And with that, and this is where I show you that he raised $53 million after this bogus verdict was handed down, which is awesome. Now, you can get back to putting on advertisements, you know, so people can hear the truth, because they've held him in that idiot courthouse for so long that he's had to put off a lot of what he's done. So he can get back to telling people what's going on and what he is going to be like and doesn't like about this demented idiot that's sitting in the White House right now. So here's a little video of Trump raising all the money after his lousy verdict. Let me get the right one here.
In a surprising twist of American political drama, former President Donald Trump has managed to raise nearly $53 million following his recent guilty verdict. This unexpected influx of funds has major implications for the 2024 presidential race, as Trump seeks to close the financial gap with President Joe Biden. But what does this mean for his campaign and the broader political landscape? Firstly, it's crucial to understand the sheer scale of this fundraising achievement. $53 million is a significant sum that can be channeled into various aspects of a political campaign, from advertising and grassroots mobilization to legal fees and public events. For Trump, facing a barrage of legal challenges, this financial boost appears to indicate that a substantial segment of his base remains fiercely loyal and willing to support him, regardless of his legal troubles. One primary benefit of this massive fundraising haul is the ability to launch aggressive marketing campaigns. With these resources, Team Trump can flood key battleground states with advertisements, enhancing his visibility and potentially swaying undecided voters. Furthermore, it can fuel a robust ground game, enabling better voter outreach and mobilization efforts crucial in swing states. This fundraising success also underscores the polarizing nature of Trump's candidacy. While his supporters are galvanizing, his opponents are equally likely to mobilize, driven by a desire to prevent his return to the White House.
Now you see this, and with the Daily Mail that I got, said there was $100 million and then all the RNC. But if you're a liberal media station, you want to cut down Trump as much as possible. And I got this short video of MSNBC. And you guys let me know if you guys are sick of videos, but this shows how much difference between what is actually happening and what the fake news media is putting out. And so that's why I try to get you a little bit of both to show you how this is going down. And this is what the White House is making these media people do. Oh, and I don't think they're making them, but I think they're happy as hell to do this. So take a look at this.
It is a money-making scheme that makes Trump stakes look like small potatoes. Brand new reporting revealing that the ex-president funneled more than $100 million that he raised off of the big lie, a toxin injected by Trump and his allies into the political bloodstream of our very own democracy, right into his pile of legal bills. The New York Times reporting this, that, quote, Mr. Trump has averaged more than $90,000 a day in legal-related costs for more than 3 years. None of it paid with his own money. And much of those funds come from the very same thing that has landed Trump in legal trouble in the first place. $254 million raised in the post-election period when Trump regularly lied to his supporters, claiming that the election was rigged against him, and tried desperately to overturn his election defeat. As the New York Times reports, even though Trump called on his supporters to fill up a so-called election defense fund, just a fraction of the money he raised from his supporters, $15.6 million, actually went toward any of the lawsuits or recounts, all of which, of course, failed to turn up any fraud or move the needle in Trump's favor, because, as we all know, there was no fraud.
Don't you love the lies and bullshit from this fake news media people? They get on my nerves.
Yeah, I'll say this. Like I said, this is from MSNBC, so it's probably not true. But even if it is true, let's just say that it is for a second. And I think most people that support Trump would agree with what I'm about to say. Even if he did use this to pay his legal fees, I don't give two shits. I don't care if he used the money that we donate to his campaign to go on vacation. I think the man needs a vacation, all the shit he's been through. I mean, there has never been anybody in American political history, probably, maybe excluding the founder, the framers, that has made more sacrifices for the people than President Trump. So if he wants to use donations to pay his legal fees to get out of this draconian lawfare that the deep state has unleashed against him, I don't see a problem with it. What does everybody else in the chat think? That's how I feel. I don't care what he does with the money. If the money helps him out, I really don't give a shit.
It's the whole purpose of donating to him.
I don't, because honestly, any other politician, do you think that they're really using the money that someone donates to them for the exact thing they say they're going to use that money for? I don't care. I don't care. If it comes out that he is using donation money to pay his legal fees, it makes no difference to me, if I'm being honest. I don't care.
Well, yeah, we're gonna get caught up on some. We're gonna get caught up on some chats over here because we're way behind. Because I know American Rebellion mentioned this in his show tonight, that the Republicans are a do-nothing party. And he's exactly right. And they started talking about that. in here because what have they done? They've held investigations and they keep making it seem like they're actually doing something when they're not, because they come up and say, "Oh, we're gonna hold an investigation on this guy, or we're gonna send a letter to them about this evidence, or we're gonna hold another hearing," and it's like, and they're all everybody in the chat is saying the same thing. They're do nothing. They have done nothing. They've had 3.5 years to hold Joe Biden and the Biden administration accountable for what they have done, and that includes this vaccine and all the COVID bullshit. They've done nothing about it. They've done nothing to hold Fauci liable for this stuff. They've done nothing to hold anybody liable for all of the bullshit and the corruption that they've done through this 3.5, almost 4 years now. So what makes them, they're going to open more investigations. I just saw today, I think it was, they're going to open another investigation. What the hell for? We've got 5 months. We got 5 months to get Trump back into office. So by the time we get him back in, what the hell are they going to do? If we don't get him back in, every one of these investigations are for nothing.
Well, this is the same group that just a couple months ago, maybe not even a couple months ago, maybe even a month and a half ago, went and had a meeting again at the southern border. Like, it's going to look any different than it has over the last 3 years. Like, what do you have to go down to the border for again, for another photo op? That's all it is. And by the way, I want to respond to Dennis real quick. You're absolutely right. Trump actually works on his vacations, unlike the illegitimate Joe Biden, who, as Trump says, can't even lift the beach chair that's meant for children. But anyway, the Republican Party is the party that does nothing, with the exception of a few. We have a few really good ones, as I said earlier, but a few good ones is not enough, unfortunately. We have way too many that do nothing. Like I said, there's no reason to go to the southern border like they did, a couple months ago. I mean, it looks the same as it did 3 years ago. Take action on it. And by the way, I don't know if you had anything on this, Charlie, so I'm going to be careful with this.
On what?
Did you have anything on the on Biden potentially doing an executive order?
That was something we're going to get into tomorrow, but
okay. I'm just teasing it. Okay, I could wait. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can tease it a little bit more if you want, because that is something that.
Okay, well, I'll go through this real quick. Just a
teaser. Don't go over anything. Just a teaser.
No, this is just a point that I've made before. That people watch us have heard me say this before.
Right.
So, the Republicans are always demonized for not doing anything. Not passing the bipartisan border security bill that did nothing about border security. In fact, it made it easier for the illegal alien thugs to come into our country. And Biden said he couldn't do anything without Congress. And we were saying on this show before that, yes, he can. He could do it through executive order. That's what President Trump did when he got in office. And that's how Joe Biden completely evaporated our border, was through executive order. He reversed all of Trump's border policies. Now, apparently, Biden now understands that he could do it through executive action, but we'll talk more about that tomorrow. But Republicans should really be, doing so. I mean, I want to see subpoenas against people like Alvin Bragg. I want to see Juan Marchand and his daughter. They should be hauled in front of Congress right now because of this sham Moscow show trial that just took place in New York. And Republicans have not done that yet. Where is Mike Johnson? Where is Jim Jordan? This is what they should be doing right now. They're threatening to throw the nominee for president of your party in prison for 20 years. Why have you done nothing yet? Why is Alvin Bragg not sitting and testifying in front of Congress, as important as Anthony Fauci and the origins of the China virus are?
Well, Jim Jordan just sent him a letter.
Oh, yeah. We need more than just strongly worded letters.
That's all we did.
That's all they should have been hauling Alvin Bragg's fat ass into Congress today.
They wrote him a letter today asking him. They wrote him a letter today asking him to come in to answer questions. You don't ask the son of a bitch.
Yeah,
You tell him, get the hell in here.
There shouldn't be any asking. You're right. They should just tell him, look, you're being subpoenaed. If he does not show up, you hold him in contempt. That's what they did to Peter Navarro and why he's sitting in prison right now. That's what they did to Steve Bannon, and they're threatening to throw him in prison right now. Why doesn't our side ever throw a punch when it is time to throw a punch? Democrats could do it. Why can't our side do it? This is why I get so pissed off at Jim Jordan, Mike Johnson, James Comer, and the whole group.
That's why you guys got to
talk tough, no action.
You guys got to check out. You guys tune in tomorrow night for the rest of the border talk. But you guys have probably already heard it, but we're not going to tease it no more because and some of the guys are bringing it up in chat too. But you're right, Tammy. They have infiltrated every level of our government. No matter what we do, we've got terrorists, sympathizers, and everything in there. And this is why November is so important. And Dennis, yes, they could have repealed Obamacare and built the wall, and everything that you said was right. But what happens when we get in here? The Biden administration takes away all the money illegally, takes the money away that was already allotted by the government, by the House and Senate to build the wall. He illegally took the money, put it to somewhere else. He also took and sold the wall for pennies on the dollar that was already built specifically for the border, took it and sold it off to people. And we can't get into exactly what he's doing. If you guys haven't seen it, I don't want to give it away, but you got to tune in tomorrow and we'll go over the rest of that. But Johnson and the rest of them, all they've done, like Brendan said, what are they doing? They're holding news conferences. It's a travesty. What's going on with Trump?
They're going on Sean Hannity's show every night, acting like they're so enraged about what's going on. They'll say that the political persecution against Trump is election interference. Well, we know it's election interference. Why aren't you doing anything about it? I could come to that determination sitting on my couch.
Exactly.
You mean to tell me you, as Speaker of the House, can't come up with anything different, can't do anything different than I am sitting on my couch? I mean, come on. What a joke.
Jeff, you're right. Republicans, part of the Republicans are on all this.
Terrible.
Definitely.
Terrible.
And this is what we've got to do. This is why we're doing this show. We've got to wake people up to a lot of these idiot Republicans. And I'm sorry, but they are, because, and according to Kurt, Republicans are snails. Exactly. In 3.5 years, what have they done? Nothing. We got who we impeached by Mayorkas. We impeached him, and that's as far as it went. But what's he still doing?
Yeah, hell, even longer than that. Republicans have been controlled opposition for a very long time here. I mean, if you just look back.
Well, they had controlled the Senate last time, right? In Trump's case.
Yeah, but I was going to make this example, and I remember this as a 13-year-old kid. This is when I started really getting interested in politics. The presidential debates between Barack Obama and Mitt Romney. I mean, Mitt Romney made absolutely no effort to beat Obama in these debates. I mean, it was set up from the start, and you can make the same argument about McCain. I don't really remember that race because I was really young. but I saw some videos on it. McCain was probably the same thing, and just knowing what John McCain was, so it's not that far fetched for me to say that, even though I don't remember. But I remember the Mitt Romney Barack Obama debates in particular, and you could just tell that it was already predetermined that Obama was going to win. So Republicans have been controlled opposition for a very long time here, and that needs to stop. And it's going to stop with President Trump. It's going to, because Trump's going to put his foot in a lot of these Republicans' asses. He's going to, and he has to. That's the only way stuff is going to get done.
Yeah, you're right, Dennis. Hannity sold out Trump. Fox told him to jump, and he said, how high? You're exactly right. And
Hannity
now,
is sell out.
Oh, yeah. Now you're sitting there seeing him trying to suck up.
I've been saying for a long time
now. It's unreal how much he sucked up. But now we got Marco Rubio. He was talking about the Trump trial, and he's saying that it is similar to the sham trial the Soviet Union used against their political opponents. Now, I'm going to let you watch this video of the Great Purge, if you guys have ever heard of it, and what he is talking about before we get into all this. So take a look at this. It's only a minute long.
1934, St. Petersburg. The assassination of party official Sergei Kirov sets off an internal investigation that reveals a conspiracy to murder Soviet leader Joseph Stalin. Stalin authorizes the NKVD to identify counter-revolutionaries and enemies of the people for prosecution. Imprisonment, torture, violent interrogation, and execution serve as tools of the party apparatus in an unprecedented act of political repression. The Great Purge has begun. Government officials, Red Army officers, intelligentsia, and peasants are accused, rounded up, and quickly executed or sent to the Gulag. 4 years later, Stalin brings an end to this campaign of terror, and the NKVD leaders who carried out his orders are sentenced to death. Whether driven by genuine fear or ruthless ambition, Stalin exploited the Great Purge to legally consolidate his power at the cost of nearly 700,000 lives.
Now tell me you guys don't see the similarities between this Great Purge video and what's happening now in this country. He is definitely not far off from the statement that he has made.
No, it's absolutely not. I mean, you look at everything from really 2020, the China virus scamdemic, how we were all locked down and forced to wear masks and forced to take the poisonous jab. And now you fast forward to now. Well, really, you fast forward to the election and how it's so obvious it was they stole it from President Trump. They put an illegitimate regime in the White House. And you fast forward to today and the political persecution against Donald Trump. I mean, this is Venezuela type shit that is happening here. I mean, we are very close to falling like Venezuela. We all remember what happened in Venezuela. And by the way, Venezuela used and they probably still do to this day, the same voting machines we use here in the United States for our elections. They use Dominion as well. So we really are not a free nation anymore. We're only free when it comes to stuff that doesn't matter. And you see, once you start speaking up and you start challenging the establishment, how you're deplatformed, you're censored, you're demonized, or in President Trump's case, they threaten to throw you in prison for 700 years.
Yeah.
I mean, this does not happen in a free nation. America is no longer a free nation. We could get it back if we put President Trump back in the White House this election, but we are currently not a free nation. We are a third world dictatorship police state. I mean, that's how it is. That's what we are. We only have the illusion of freedom currently, and it's sad to say, but that's the truth.
It is, and at least Marco Rubio did bring up a good point, and because you can look at what's going on now, and because I'm sick and tired of people sitting there saying that if Trump gets back into office, he's going to lead as a dictator. What the hell do they think we're doing now?
Yeah, I really love the one where they say if he gets back in, he's never going to leave. And I've mentioned this before.
Yeah.
Do these people not realize that he was president 4 years ago and he left?
Yeah.
If he was going to be a dictator this time, why the hell did he leave
the first time?
Yeah, why didn't he just stay the first time? That makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Well, this is just another example of the Democrats spewing their bullshit out to their dominions, the little sheep that they have, trying to get them to believe stuff that's not true. And they're so pathetic they can't think for themselves, so they're going to believe everything that's done. I mean, the media helps them. And all these people, and I know I have some family members that believe what the media says, even The View. And those fucking pieces of shit racist bitches, they lie every time you turn around. So it's unreal what people will believe when they're too damn dumb to think for themselves and actually watch what's going on in this country. And you can find out for yourself that the Democrats are full of shit and they are corrupt as hell.
Yeah, that's the biggest difference between our side and the other side. The other side has no critical thinking whatsoever. They believe whatever they see on the media. You know, those are the people who believe. Well, it's on CNN, it's got to be true, or it's on CBS News, it's got to be true. You know, it's in Politico, it's got to be true. You know, these type of people. They can't actually see what's going on in the world, and because many of them are uneducated when it comes to history. Let's just be honest. You know, those that don't know their history are condemned to repeat it. You know, if you have a pretty good knowledge of history, you know the warning signs for a nation falling into socialism and then ultimately a Marxist dictatorship. America today checks every one of those boxes. If you look at every nation that has fallen into a socialist Marxist dictatorship, they followed the same exact playbook that America is in now. They confiscated the guns under the illusion of it's for your own good, it's to keep you safe. Now that the people are disarmed, the government comes in and takes over. That's what they're trying to do here. That's what they did with COVID. That's what they tried to do with COVID. I really believe that COVID was a dry run. I believe they have something much bigger planned, but I think the people are going to resist it this time because there are more people waking up. The only people you hear about are the freaking retard MSNBC, CNN watchers with blue hair and don't even know what gender they are. You know, they got a major in lesbian poetry reading at freaking Princeton University or whatever. You know, it's these people that always have the loudest megaphone. They're the ones that are always on the media. We are the majority in this country. They try to portray that we are a fringe minority, and it's actually reversed. It's actually completely reversed. There are more people like us in this nation than there are them. We are the majority in this country, and we're going to take this country back. We're going to take it back. I mean, you see the way the tide is turning since this sham conviction of President Trump. I mean, look at the money he has raised. I wish we would have included some of this, but I was late getting on today. Look at the reception he got at the UFC fight the other day. And this is in blue-ass New Jersey where this fight was. If you guys have not seen this yet, maybe we'll get some of it tomorrow. But the reception he got in New Jersey was absolutely amazing. I mean, Trump's popularity, and this isn't braggadocious, but I told you this was going to happen. If they convict him, his popularity is going to grow. And it's only going to continue to grow because the liberals can't help themselves. They're going to keep attacking Trump. And Trump supports is going to continue to grow.
Yep. And Billy Bob, yeah, you're right. Dominion and the mail-in ballot stuff, they got to go. We're not going to get anything done with the Democrats being able to fix every election.
Voting. Paper ballots.
Exactly. Now, Dennis, we're in an illusionary period in the takeover of our nation. You're right.
Yes.
That is definitely right. And we got so much going on here. We got to get into this. Oh, yeah, they want to keep using this insurrection because they have nothing else to run on. It's a lie. It's not an insurrection. Anybody that wants to take over a government, you're not going to come there with flagpoles and try to take over a government. I'm sorry. We're not that stupid. And it's not like we don't have the guns. If we wanted to actually take over the government, we have the guns. We could do it.
Yeah, if January 6th was really an insurrection, there would have been guns, trust me. And not one gun was confiscated. And Jeff, you're absolutely right. If you give up freedom for safety, you will wind up losing both. That is 100% true because that's what's happened in every other nation that has fallen into Marxism and became a dictatorship. And we're on the same path, but if you don't know history, you don't recognize the signs. You, like I said, you look at any other country that has went down this path, it has not ended well.
No, according to Dennis.
But they do.
According to Dennis too.
Yeah.
We have morphed into a constitutional republic to a ruler's law, police state. We're in a police state right now. If you just see what the FBI is doing, what they did to Trump.
Yeah, that's coming for all of us. That's coming for all of us, by the way. You think they're just going to stop with Trump? They're not going to stop with Trump. They're coming for every one of us. They will come for anybody that goes against the regime. That includes all you guys on Wimpkin. That includes anybody that posts anything on social media the regime doesn't like. That includes me and Charlie.
Oh,
That
yeah.
includes every single one of us. And, you know, that is why we have to rise up against this. This is not Republican versus Democrat anymore. This is literally the future of our nation hanging in the balance this election. That is why me and Charlie do this. Well, as we said before, we don't make any money off this. We're two nobodies, honestly. You know, we've gotten a great audience on Wimpkin, but overall, we're really nobodies. We don't profit off this in any way. We're doing this because this is so important. This election could really determine whether our country remains free or if we turn into a third world dictatorship. I mean, that's, I hate to use a Joe Biden term. That's not hyperbole, although he would probably pronounce it hyperbole. But
Yeah.
I mean, that is the truth. That is what is on the line this election.
Right. And Dennis, that is a good question. How can Trump possibly win the election whenever nothing has changed from the last election? And you're right. And that's why I did read today, and I didn't bring it up, that the Trump campaign has established a huge election poll watchers and something else in there to try to get a fair and free election that we haven't had in years.
Yeah. Can I respond to that real quick?
Go ahead.
The biggest thing I would say that is different, that has changed since then, you're right, nothing with the election process has really changed per se. But one thing that people need to take into mind here is that in order for them to pull off the steal in 2020, they needed to bullshit enough people into voting for Biden. And they were able to do that, honestly. They were able to convince enough people that Trump was this awful person that completely failed with COVID. You know, they were able to convince enough people of this to vote for Biden. So they were able to get enough fake votes to where they could drag Biden over the finish line. Well, people aren't buying it anymore. People see that everything that Trump said that if Joe Biden got into office would happen is happening. They see how they're going after him through these Moscow show trials, these political persecution, that they're already predetermined outcomes. They're going to convict him no matter what, and the law doesn't apply. The American people see this. I mean, we're going to have to get the percentage, but there was a large percentage of these donations that President Trump has received since his conviction that were new donors that have never donated money to a political campaign before. At least the Trump campaign never donated to the Trump campaign before. You're seeing many people that did not support Trump in 2020, but are now supporting him. You see people that didn't vote at all, that aren't politically involved at all, that recognized what's going on, and they're voting for Trump. I mean, Trump's support has grown so much. I mean, when people say we're going to make this too big to rig, that is what's happening. And like I said before, if the Democrats were not freaking out, if they thought that this was cinched up, that they were going to steal it and they were going to remain in power, they would not be going after Trump. They would not be going after Trump the way they are. We have a really good chance of winning it. I really like our chances at winning this election. Everybody has to go out and vote. We have to do our job. We can't be lazy, but I really like our chances. That is the biggest difference between 2020 and now. That is a big difference.
Big difference. But you're right, Tammy. That's why they are erasing history. That's why they don't even teach history in school anymore.
That's absolutely right.
They don't teach anything. They don't want the people to know the truth about our history.
History, I would say, is the most important subject you could learn in school.
And you don't learn it anymore. Nope. They don't even teach it because Dennis says
you learn their version of history.
Oh, right. Or you're going to get the gay version of the history or the trans version of history now.
Yes, absolutely.
Dictators, Dennis says that dictators all rewrite and erase history and wipe out a tradition and nationalism. And he's right, because we talked about this on last show, or maybe the show before that or something like that, about them ripping down all the statues. And because they're calling them racist. It's not racist. There wasn't any race considered in those statues. Nope. And they're just want to try to wipe out history. So they stop teaching, like Gary said in the American Rebellion today about they don't teach civics anymore either. I had civics when I was in school. They don't teach that. They don't teach regular history. They don't teach reading, writing, and arithmetic in Oregon. So what the hell's up with that?
Yeah, all I could say is thank God I had an awesome history teacher through high school. He was a
thanks, Gary.
He was a Marine and he taught the real history. So I'm grateful for that because
but they don't teach it anymore. Yeah. And now they're gonna take away reading too, because if you can keep people stupid, they're gonna listen to everything you say. So they take away all this stuff.
That's exactly what it is. They want a dumb society. That's why
dumb, fat, and lazy.
Yeah, that's why they're not even with the SATs. They're not in certain states. They're not even doing SATs. No. They're not paying attention to scores anymore. And they're saying because it disenfranchises minority students. No, what it is they want a dumb society. They always mark everything as racism or public safety. That's what it is. A dumb society is a controlled society.
Exactly. And it's easier to take away your rights when you don't know what they are. Exactly, Tammy.
That's exactly right. Yes.
You got that right, because if you don't know it, how do you know you even have it? So you're definitely right on this. Well, we didn't get into Biden's economy. Well, we all know it sucks. So
you mean to tell me you're unhappy with the Build Back Better, Charlie? I keep hearing how great the economy is on CNN and everything else. I mean, you're not telling me that CNN would lie to me, right?
Oh no, not at all. With Biden Build Back Broke, I think it's more like Brokeback Mountain. So it kind of sucks, and we all know it. But we didn't get into it, so it's not a big deal. Biden's not a big deal. He's a worthless piece of shit. And this is what we got to get changed come November. So, guys, this is about all the time we have for you today. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. Hope you'll join us tomorrow night for another great episode of the Conservative Viewpoint, where you never know what we're going to talk about. So until tomorrow night, I'm going to leave you with this. But thank you again for tuning into the Conservative Viewpoint. It's an honor to have you here. Whether you're a seasoned conservative or just dipping your toes into the deep waters of political discourse. Tomorrow night, we'll continue our riveting discussions, dissecting the latest news and exploring conservative perspectives. So mark your calendars, grab your favorite beverage, and join us again for another thought-provoking episode. And remember, knowledge is power, and together, we'll keep the torch of conservatives burning bright. So until tomorrow night, guys, everyone, have a good night.
Have a good night, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.